Hey there! I thought what I would do today, due to a complete lack of creativity, is something that I have done before. But it's an update. So I think it was June or something 2019. So this is a long time ago. I did a video on rollerballs that take fountain pen ink. And I had different models. What is interesting to me is that some of those pens have disappeared from my collection, and there is one I still have that was in that video too. I have an entirely new one. I have done a review on that, but I've kept it. I actually really liked it. And then there is one that was in the original video, but at that time it was made in China. Now it's relaunched. It's made entirely in the US. This is not a value judgment, but it's changed a bit. And I was just kind of curious as to how that would stack up. So it's not exactly the same as the other video. I only have 3 pens. I will compare them side by side, and I'll tell you what I like about them, what I don't like about them. So it's kind of a shootout, but it's also kind of an overview of different options. The reason I wanted to do that is that I prefer fountain pens to rollerballs any day of the week, but sometimes it's very nice to have a rollerball. I just don't necessarily like the ink offerings excuse me, for rollerballs. The nice thing about rollerballs that take fountain pen ink, so they have a converter and then you can put in any of your bottle inks, is that you have more ink options, and I just think it's fun, and some of them are actually very comfortable. So that's what I wanted to look at today. That's what we're going to do. Let's get started. Okay folks, let's look at some rollerballs. Here we have the Verde OneTouch Engage. I'll just talk about each of them briefly. I saw these, I was just doing a bit of online sleuthing prior to recording this. I saw them on Jet Pens for $76, but they were also out of stock, and I found them out of stock in many shops, so I don't know if they're still widely available. You can find them on eBay, and I found one on Amazon.ca, but it was something like 150 Canadian, so it was not really cheap. But anyway, there you are, if you really want one. There were different finishes. This is carbon fiber. It's quite nice. It's nice and light. Large pen. And this is the only one in the lineup today that has a click mechanism, which I'm not necessarily tremendously fond of. I'm kind of doing likes and dislikes straight away because the tip is exposed. So theoretically, if something, part of your clothes gets in here, it would suck out ink. It's not closed off. I haven't really had any huge issues with it drying out because it is a rollerball, not a fountain pen. But anyway, there you are. What I will say about this pen, so it looks like this. So you have a I can't disassemble it. There we go. You have the spring, obviously, for the mechanism. Then you just have a converter, and there is a cartridge in it, and I want to say it came with an adapter to put cartridges in it as well. So if you really want to use cartridges, fountain pen, Stella International cartridges, then you can. So that would be the Verde OneTouch Engage. The second pen I wanted to look at is this pen. I just need to do a quick check because I have, there we go. This is a fountain. I have a fountain pen and I have a rollerball of these. Sorry, one sec. There was some ink in the cap. This is made by a TAG, T-A-G. They launched these a while ago on Kickstarter. I reviewed it at that time. I think they're very nice pens. That's the reason I kept mine. It's the Submarine collection. They're made in Taiwan. They have a lot of brass, so it's a very solid pen. And what I like about it is that it does have that cap, which doesn't really post, by the way. And then there's this, what they call the turbine at the end, which is kind of a submarine, right? Like would propel a submarine. You can use this as a piston turning knob. So there is I'll try to open it up. It's a little, I have to be careful you don't accidentally engage that. But there is, again, a converter in there. It screws in place. You have a rollerball tip. And then you can, this part, that engages with this, and then you can fill it up. I just have to be careful, don't accidentally expel ink. Yeah, okay, put it back together. There we are. Zippity zappity. Okay, then we have the final one that I like quite a lot. I've done the review of this pen recently. but I also said at that point I didn't really do a writing sample with the rollerball tip. So this is the inventory pocket pen. This is the version 2.0. The original ones that I reviewed a couple of years ago, they were made in China. These are now entirely made in the US. There's some minor changes in the clip and the finial. I discussed that in the review. What's fun about these is that they are actually fountain pens. So they come with a fountain pen nib, Schmidt insert. You can unscrew that, take it out, and then you can use this rollerball insert, which comes with the pen. So you have two options. These also come in stainless steel and a black anodized aluminum. So if this brass is not really a thing, then you can use those. And another thing I wanted to point out with these is that so the converter can be taken out, and then this middle part of the barrel actually unscrews. You can take that out, you can screw the barrel back in place, and now you have a pocket pen, which the cap posts with threads on the back. Then you have a pocket pen. Very nice if you like such a thing. The only downside to that is the converter then no longer fits, and you can only use standard international short cartridges. So that is something you do need to take into account for your ink selection. Okay, let's have a look at how these different pens write. And then as things come up, I'll do some more likes and dislikes near the end. I've already done some dislikes for the OneTouch Engage. So here we go. Mont Verde. If you don't mind, I'm just going to put in OT for OneTouch Engage. This is not Mont Blanc, sorry, this is a Waterman, whatever they call it, but it's their blue black. Okay, so obviously a lot of the tests that I usually do, like line variation and such, obviously they do not work. Writing upside down doesn't work. Ha ha ha, can you write upside down? No, you cannot. Okay. But because of the mechanism, what you can do is push down on it a bit and it should get a little wetter because that pushes the ball in, more ink comes out, etc. And that is indeed the case. I hope you'll be able to see a bit more saturation in that part than in this part. Overall, there are some things I really like about this pen. I really like the looks. The carbon fiber, there are carbon fiber folks out there who just love carbon fiber stuff. I'm not one of them, but I do like the looks. I mean, I wouldn't go out of my way to obtain one, but I mean, I do like the looks. This pen has two disadvantages in my mind. The advantage is the one-handed operation. So for someone who does need to be able to pull out a pen and do that, you could use this. We know the fountain pen options, vanishing point, decimal. There's more and more retractable nib fountain pens, but we're not talking about that today. That is a convenient mechanism. As I said, the downside is this could theoretically leak because there's no cap to hold in the ink. To me, the biggest downside, I think I said there are two downsides. The first downside is that there is no cap. The second downside is it's a baseball bat. It's a very large pen. I can't hold it too far down because then I find the angle of writing kind of unpleasant. So I hold it a little farther up. I find that more pleasant for me, my writing angle. But it's big. And it's with the carbon fiber, it's not super heavy, but there is a bit of top heaviness there. You have to enjoy a larger pen. If you have smaller hands, it's going to look very interesting, and I that's the thing I like least. I think if it would be just a little bit shorter, it would be a size that works a bit better for more people. Then we have this pen. So these I forgot to mention the cost. So the Monteverde, as I said, MSRP I would say, or at least street price, that's a better way to put it, about $76 at Jet Pens. These are more expensive. These, when they were launched, went for $100 US. So they're more expensive. Let's see how this one performs. This is, there's a little bit of ink leakage there, can happen. This is the TAG submarine collection, the Rollerball. This is also Waterman, Waterman Blue Black. Lot of brass, solid pen. I do really like how this one writes. Less of a baseball bat, has some more refinement to the shape. These grooves, for example, are quite comfortable. I do really like that. Downsides, sorry, I'll do the pressure, so the wetter writing. Again, you can see a bit of a difference in saturation between the two. Downsides to this pen, the brass makes it heavier, so if you like a lighter pen, I would pass this one by. The turbine, that can accidentally, if you fiddle with that's gonna put ink out there. See, that just happened. That was not much turning and there is a drop of ink there. So you have to be a bit mindful of that. The downside to these kinds of rollerball, fountain pen ink stuff, things, that was a really great sentence, is that when you use bottle ink, if you dunk the whole ink into a bottle, which you can, and yes, it will suck up ink through just the gaps that are there. Some people think it's impossible. It's not. I've just done it right before this video. You can get some ink coming out of these seams. So you need to be a bit careful of that in settings where you don't want to get ink on your hands. Maybe that's not ideal, and maybe in such a case cartridges are better. Or take the converter out, fill that with ink, put that in the pen, but then you still have to operate the converter bit to prime, not the feed, but the mechanism of this pen. So you have to be a little mindful of that. Those are my likes and dislikes for that model. Finally, we have this one. I kept this brass one for myself because I really liked it. So this is the Inventory Pocket Pen 2.0. I really like it in fountain pen mode. I also like it in rollerball mode. Now, unfortunately, this has a different ink in it. I'm very sorry. I know that's not a great comparison, but I have used these quite a lot. I do know them fairly well. These go for 189 US with the extender, 140 without the extender. So that makes it the most expensive pen in the lineup, but bear in mind that comes with a fountain pen nib as well, right? So you have two writing modes, you have the extender, not the extender. You do get a bit of like different materials to fiddle and play with and use your optimal writing mode. Let's start off. The brass version is definitely the heaviest because the other two finishes, as I said, stainless steel, anodized aluminum. You can get a lighter version if you like it. I quite like the solid feel of the brass, so I kept that for myself. So here we have the Inventory Pocket Pen 2.0. This is Mont Verde Garnet. Sorry, I have to think. I was confused with Claret. There was a Yardelet Claret that I really liked. So sorry, Garnet. Okay, here are some of the things I like and dislike about this pen. In its extended mode, I find posting the cap a bit too much for me. It becomes quite a long pen. I tend to use it unposted, especially because with the heavier material, it gets a bit top heavy. So there is that. You're still fascinated by this, right? Everybody's looking at this, I know, okay. I like the solidity of the pen. I like the weight of the pen. I quite like that. I find it pleasant, but might not be for everyone. So that's one of the things I don't really like the posting. But then obviously you don't have to post it, right? In the non-extended mode, posting is great. That's a great size. So if you like to use it as a pocket pen, I think that's a fantastic option. I like the way it feels. The section is quite nice. There's a little bit of sharpness there. I don't find it particularly bothersome because there's enough section to hold on to. I wish you could use the pen with a converter in the pocket mode, but it just doesn't fit. So that's just the way it is. It is more expensive. You do get quite a lot because you also get the fountain pen nib that you can use. I mean, I think that is really quite nice. What I would say about this pen that I like best is that of the three, I find it by far the smoothest. It has the smoothest mechanism. Now, I'm going to be honest, it's also the youngest one. So these two I've used quite a bit before, and I do find with rollerballs, over time, the roundness of the ball wears out a bit, or whatever exactly happens to rollerballs, they become a little bit less smooth. This is the newest, maybe it's just still in its smooth mode. I also get the feeling it is a little wider than these two tips. These feel more like fine and this feels more like medium. That might also help a bit with that smoothness, but a very pleasant writer. Now the question is, if I were to have to pick one, which one would I pick? Well, it's very subjective. For me, I'm going to go with the Inventory. I know it is the most expensive one, but you also get the fountain pen nib, and you also, at least you can elect to get that extender, so you can turn it into a pocket pen, which is quite nice. I like it best. I like the way it writes best. My second choice would be the Tag. I do really like the way it looks. It is quite a nice writer, and I do find it very comfortable. They've designed it very, very well. And my least favorite choice, therefore, is the Mont Verde. It is a pretty pen. It's a cool pen with the click mechanism. It is a nice writer. It's just very big. And for those of you who have slightly smaller hands, I would not recommend it because I think you're going to find it unpleasant. There'll be too much pen. So there you have it. It is the most expensive one that I picked. And that's the way the cookie crumbled that time. So here we are, 3 rollerballs that take fountain pen ink, fun to play with. I hope this was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye.